It's a pleasure to have on the show Congressman John Katko of House Homeland Security. It's great to have you back on, sir. Okay, tell us about the letter you sent to Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas about the White House using journalists at the border. What's going on here?
Yes, believe it or not, that's true. That's what they're doing. The Department of Homeland Security has to deal with the crisis at the border, and they can't process the people the way they should be able to because there's such a crush coming across because of Biden's policies. So they have something called the Department of Homeland Security Volunteer Force, and they're having volunteers come to the border, including journalists from like Voice of America, for example, to come and deal with the migrants, process them, be exposed to their sensitive case files, interview them, and do the things that law enforcement are supposed to be doing. So they're literally asking non-law enforcement folks like journalists, believe me, I love journalists, I love you guys, but you shouldn't be processing aliens coming across the border. You should be doing your job in reporting things, and we should have law enforcement doing that. They're not doing that. They're literally having journalists do that as part of the trying to stop this flow.
But you also mentioned in your letter allegations of foreign adversaries infiltrating the Voice of America, and apparently one of their freelance journalists was arrested on suspicion of being a Russian spy. What's going on there?
Yeah, he was arrested on being he was arrested because of that, just like you said, being a possible foreign spy. And you know, how are we vetting these people? I'm not, you know, when you apply to law enforcement, there's a very thorough and rigorous vetting process. It's clear when you have quote unquote volunteers coming to the border, there's not a lot of vetting going on. You're just trying to stop the flow and the flood, and you're cutting corners. And when you cut corners, bad things happen, and we can't have that. Not only do we need to secure the border, we need to secure the process of dealing with the folks at the border. And the Homeland Security is basically throwing up their hands saying, we'll take anybody to help us. So, and it's very dangerous.
But I think you just said they're given access, these journalists are given access to sensitive case files, migrant data, and more. I mean, this just sounds like a really bad conflict of interest. And it's a national security risk, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Listen, you can't get an alien case file. That's what's called, the alien file it's called. Everybody who comes to this country has an alien file. You get a number and a file. These journalists and these volunteers are getting access to that sensitive case information. What if that individual that comes across turns out to be a bad person? What if they turn out to be a terrorist? How is this individual who's a volunteer, who's not trained in how to deal with this stuff, deal with it? That's what's really frightening to me. And we're continually cutting corners. We see a huge spike in the number of individuals on a terror watch list being caught at the border. We see now, obviously, the drugs flowing across, and now we have people who are not even being able to, they're not properly trained, coming down there just to try and help stem the flow. And it's really not a good situation. It's an incredibly bad idea.
So, you know, the Supreme Court won't allow the White House to implement their policy for now, that they were trying to prioritize for deportation people in the country here illegally who pose the greatest public safety risk. So they were putting kind of a food chain of who's at the top and who can be like pushed out. They're going to schedule arguments on this for the December session. You also say that under Biden, nearly 4 million migrants have been encountered at U.S. borders. That's like double last year. Go ahead.
That's absolutely right. But don't forget, too, how the heck are you supposed to make a game time decision whether someone poses a risk of danger to the community, and how do you prioritize that? You know, everybody should be treated as a danger to the country until proven otherwise, not the other way around. And basically, they're making quick decisions without really having any ability to know who these people are or check their background or verify their story. Don't forget, the average alien comes across, has little or no paperwork, says they're Bill Smith from Guatemala, and turns out they could be somebody on the terror watch list. And how are you making game time decisions? And the Supreme Court got it right by saying, wait, we're going to put the brakes on this. I want to hear oral arguments. I want to hear how this system works.
To your point, it's like they're making decisions ad hoc and on the fly. I mean, Homeland Security confirmed the White House is letting nearly 1,000 illegal aliens use arrest warrants and deportation notices as ID to get on U.S. air flights to go into the U.S. interior. Nearly 45,000 were put on those flights. Your final word.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And basically what they've created a situation of chaos at the border. They're adding to that chaos by having non-trained people process the chaos that they've caused, when it's pure insanity, plain and simple.
So if you guys take back control of Congress, what are you going to do here?
Well, I'm head of the American Security Task Force, and one of my primary responsibilities is to have the legislative agenda set on day one. And we are going to have agenda set on day one that President Biden's going to have to deal with. And that is, he's going to have to either play ball and help to
Okay.
secure the border,
Got
or he's
it.
going to have a heck of a time.
Congressman Katko, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.